I'm sitting down with University of Wisconsin River Falls education professor Teresa Kruizenga. We will discuss the challenges that students whose native language is not English present to teachers in today's classrooms. You started teaching here at UWRF.
4 years ago. But I was a graduate of this program as well. I got my undergraduate here.
Okay.
In the teacher education department as well.
And you had been teaching in the Stillwater area?
Yep, for 10 years.
Were you primarily a high school or elementary?
Elementary. Yeah, I taught kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, and then I had just a small time in fifth grade.
Okay. In that time, you became more aware of the necessity for teachers to deal with ESL students?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's probably the most growing population in our schools right now is students that come speaking another language other than English. I don't have the exact figures right in front of me, but it is like the growing population in our schools.
Is there currently a standard either set out by Minnesota, Wisconsin, or by UWRF for making teachers or education students aware of this growing population?
Oh, most definitely. The state, both in Minnesota and Wisconsin, their state standards specifically address how are you going to meet the needs of students who come with language, what they call language diversity or culture diversity, and they expect that you as a teacher that's seeking a license can demonstrate that you can do this through your portfolio that they have to complete, their e-folio. And as far as the university, we're very much aware of that situation. So for I teach in the Block 2, and in the Block 2 is where students spend half the semester here on campus, and then the second half they're out in the schools. And the schools that we are in, the majority of the schools that we're in are St. Paul schools, and they a couple of them are called English Language Academy schools as well. So they are schools that specifically attract students that are of non-speaking English and bring them together to try to teach them together as well. So for I know Highwood Elementary is a language academy school. The classroom that I was in just on Monday, 7 different languages spoke just in that one classroom.
Wow. Are the ESL students given the same standardized tests as native speakers?
Yes.
With No Child Left Behind and the testing involved, kids who are native speakers are given precisely the same test.
And it's very frustrating for teachers. I've been in classrooms where students have just literally arrived from a different country where they may not have even held a pencil before, and it happens to be the time we're giving the state standardized test. And all we can do is give them the pencil and the paper, and whatever they do, they do. And we have to send it off to the state.
That's incredible. Is there any, push in the teaching field or in the school system to somehow change that? Is there a group of people that's saying, hey, this is ridiculous, you have to give us at least something akin to 6 months, a year to start to work with these students?
There's a lot of opposition to the high stakes testing that's being taken up for English language learners is only one aspect of it. I've gone to the Capitol to speak. I know other professors here have gone to speak. We've written letters, to congressmen. I know Dr. Finney next door before President Obama was in office. She said, here's some things you need to know about. So there's a lot of activists out there trying to change it, but there's a real momentum in the No Child Left Behind, because what the No Child Left Behind did is it pointed out the achievement gap between students of cultural differences and traditionally white American people here. And so it's pointed that out. So in their attempt to lessen that achievement gap, they created these tests. But what they're doing is, in my opinion, is just making that gap even wider.
Because the teachers, penalties and
because the teachers then are forced, they feel compelled to teach to the test. So then instruction becomes very narrow, skill-based, very rigid, and really doesn't allow the teacher to embrace, I don't think, the different cultures that come when you have students that speak other languages. I mean, that's a wonderful gift to the classroom. There's so much that you can learn from that. And if you have to spend all of your time just teaching how you're going to pass this test to something, and there's no meaning for them behind it, I don't think that's going to help with the achievement gap.
Okay. Are there any new technologies that are coming out, or some of the new technologies are being used in the classroom, such as e-learning and online classes? Or is that
to help?
Are there specific programs like that to assist multilingual or other than English speaking?
Well, I think technology, it helps us to connect with other people that speak that similar language, for transcribing things for parents and stuff, but sometimes it's not always accurate. 90% of how people read us and understand us comes through our facial expressions, come from our body language. So even though technology can help in some areas, it's still just that person-to-person, eye-to-eye contact. I think that really, and that hands-on experiences that students need to have.
Is there a specific course education students are required to take?
There is. We do have the minor, the TESOL minor here. But right now on our campus, we don't have a specific course just for ELL. It's kind of embedded in what we're doing. I know I can speak to Block 2 because I teach in Block 2, but I can't really say how it's embedded in other courses. But I know in our course, which is 3 courses kind of melded to one, social studies, reading, and language arts, with 3 professors, that we work really hard in how are we going to embed, how you're going to teach these students when you get out there, because these students are really, these Block 2 PSTers, pre-student teachers here on campus, are really going to go out there and have a hands-on experience working in a classroom with ESL students. And so we try to embed it in everything that we do in those 6 weeks. So, and then added to that experience that they have out in the schools, which I think if you asked any of them is probably one of the most worthwhile opportunities that they have here on campus, so which really isn't on campus.
That was Education Professor Teresa Kruizenga speaking about ESL and ELL students. For WRFW, I'm